Alright, here's a video review for Iron Factory's IF-EX51 Power Falcon, aka Power Glide. A very fun little version of him, slightly different, not quite as fully A10 as I enjoy. Now, part of the reason I love A10s, I've always liked their design, is because one of the Air Force bases I grew up on growing up had A10s on it, so I saw them in person all the time, and I always thought they were really cool looking jets. So he doesn't have that full A10 look, but still clearly you know what you're getting here. So yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to Power Falcon here. In alt mode, he's got I mean, there's no real features. You can fold up this landing gear right here. His gun forms kind of the rear landing gear, so if you want to, you can unpeg that from the tabs here on the back, and it sits a little flat like that. Otherwise, it'll just kind of sit nose down if you don't have this front landing gear deployed. But if you want a cleaner jet, you can detach the rifle and set it off to the side. They're all ball joints back here. These fins are on little hinges, so you can angle them. I've got them in more standard jet configuration, but you can flip them around and really you can angle them however you want if you want some more dramatic looks to it. So yeah, they also sent along Phantascope, which is a repaint of their Seeker mold, the thrust mold here. But mine didn't, like this wing piece that clips on, you can see in the box, he did not come with his wings at all. He's just a robot. So he can't really transform because he has no wings. He did come with all the stand accessory in his hands, but his wing part with the wings did not come. And apparently Bolt Matrix was saying, I guess there were some people who picked him up at TFCon last weekend who had the same issue. So if you order him, be careful. Make sure first thing before you even crack him open, look in there, because you can see there's like some, they'll be white and red, so they should be fairly obviously behind his shoulder there. And if you don't see them, you might want to think about exchanging it. Granted, these aren't taped, so you could probably slide it out to double check. But yeah, be wary if you order it, just because apparently some of them have been showing up without wings. Anyway, back to Power Falcon here. So these fold around and just flip these all the way around. These are going to be his feet, and those are kind of his toes when you flip them around to the front of the foot. So bring that in. These pieces fold down, bring that ball joint on the hinge into the lower leg. That's going to bring his foot to the right position. And then these panels, you got to kind of wiggle, because there's some panels here under his leg. These panels tab in. You can see that tab there slots in. The leg lifts up and makes a slot there for this chunk to go in. And then once that's out, you collapse the leg together like that. You can see how there's a gap here. And then once you get this panel out from underneath it, collapse that down like that. The panel just lifts up on a hinge. It untabs. It also tabs onto the wing. So you kind of rotate it out from under the wing there, and then lift the wing up. Rotate this whole lower section around so this comes back to the front. Make sure the landing gear is folded down. For this, rotate so the engines here, the silver pieces come to the outside, and then rotate the foot around to the front. And you're done with his legs. This up here, kind of bring this piece down. It's on a ball joint right here and a hinge right here. Bring it down on the ball joint, rotate it at the ball joint, and then on the hinge, snap this down to cover that little wheel well there on his chest. Not all of it, you'll still see the wheel, but cover that little bit of his chest. This piece right here, kind of get these out of the way. The whole chest assembly here, these turbines rotate down to the front around. Here we go. Well, no, that's just the inner hinges. You want the whole thing to rotate. Do I need to get this out of the way first? Well, that'll do it. There we go. Oh, bring the, sorry. There's a lot of ball joints here that like to pop off. Open up the top canopy first, and then rotate the whole torso around, and then fold this up on the fold the gun up behind there, and then fold this up on the hinge behind his head. This is one of these panels that just popped off the ball joint here, as did the ball joint on the chest for this piece. Come on. go. Snap that back in. Fold it back down. Turn his head around. My alarm is going off for some reason. I will go see what's up with that. All right, and then you continue down. He's just kind of sit down. They're on hinges. You can get him out of the way here. Kind of settle down on his back. However you want to go. There's no. It looks like maybe they're supposed to rotate a little sideways, but they can only rotate so much sideways. But just kind of down here behind the back. The arm panels, you tap, detach right here. This is attached to the forearm. Flip his fist out. Here like that. And then this whole panel folds down on this hinge and then up on this hinge. And it does tab in. There's a peg here that tabs in right there. And you fold that down around his body like that. And then bring his arm down at the shoulder. Rotate it around so that ball joint comes to the front. And then the wing piece just kind of folds up onto his arm like that. Not all the way up onto his arm, but just around so it's kind of there on the underside of his forearm. And same over here. Bring that. You can see the hinge there. Bring that down. Detach the wing, which detaches the whole forearm. And then fold that up onto that tab. And bring that down around like that. And then fold that wing up. Bring that hinge all the way down in the forearm. And bring his arms out like that. And then these just kind of sit along his back. Now this lower half doesn't peg in anywhere, it doesn't look like. It has a little slot in it, but there's no... That's the slot for where the wing tabs in. It doesn't actually... Like it pegs up here on the top, but it doesn't actually really peg in anywhere on the bottom. So it's possible to wiggle those loose. And bring that, straighten that as much as you want. Because once the arms are on the ball joint, the shoulders. And there is Power Falcon in robot mode. And then this piece, the wheel piece, you flip out one end. It's kind of got a little blaster barrel look to it. And then flip out this peg. And then it's a rectangular peg. You can see the slot in his hand. Just put it in his hand, and now he's got his little gun. And looking at the robot mode, here he is. I'll brighten this just a little bit. He's got ball joint at the head. It's a little limited because of this behind there, but that's on a hinge. It's very easy. You can bring it back just enough so you can give him his full range of motion. It doesn't actually have to hinder anything. And it really doesn't even when it's pushed all the way up. Just if you want to turn it all the way around, it might push a little bit about it. Ball joint at the shoulders. He's got the extra hinge there in his bicep, and then a ball joint at the elbow. The wrists are just on that transformation hinge. It does have a waist swivel. It's got a ball joint hip, and then a swivel just below that. Dual hinge knees, so he can get some pretty decent poses there, and then a ball joint at the ankle, and you can kind of spread his toes out for more support if you need it. But it's a really nice little rendition of Power Glide. I think I said little twice in that sentence, but that's okay. Because he is very small. But I like it. I like this look of Power Glide. Again, jet mode, not quite the full A10 as I mentioned, but a really nice little Power Glide figure. And just for comparison, real quick, here he is with, I think was this Power of the Primes or Combiner Wars? The more recent Legends class or Core, whatever they were calling it at the time. Power Glide. So a little smaller than that, but a nice little rendition. I think it's another win for Iron Factory. I really like it. They just showed off some new stuff the other day, too. They showed off Sea Spray and a Samurai Lockdown, part of that Samurai line. That I don't have Cyclonus yet, but I have Leo, Convoy, and Bludgeon. And they showed off something else, too, that was really cool. Was it another mini-bot? I can't remember which other one they showed off, but they showed off a couple new ones with TFCon last week. But there is Power Falcon. I think he's really cool and a nice little rendition of the character.